You are listening to the VCast.
What is up? We are back. Another episode of the VCast. I'm Vic Cedeno. I got the big dog, Josh Wells.
What up?
I fucking
sorry, my bad.
No, yeah, you definitely have to talk into these little sensitive ass mics. But
Yeah.
I was fucking making sure I angled the camera to catch your tall ass in here.
That's like anytime like a host brings you up at a show or a mic or whatever, they're like, this next comic, and then they adjust the mic stand and put it really high, but like they'll put it comedically high. And I'm like, I've never seen that before.
A prop move.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to make sure you fucking accommodate for your tall guests. Can't fuck around with that shit. Have you always been tall? Like even when you were young?
I had like a really big growth spurt late junior year in high school. So I feel like most of my like formative years, like I had like a short person's complex. So I feel like a tall dude, but like with a short dude's like
you're a tall dude with empathy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I'm not very aggro or alpha or whatever. I'm not trying to like throw myself a pity parade, but like, when I was short in middle school and stuff, like I used to get picked on a lot and things like that. So by the time the growth spurt hit, I wasn't going to like use it as like a tool to like get back at the world and be mean to people or whatever.
Well, the fucking kids are horrible. Like they're the like.
Are they still horrible? You're a dad.
Kids are still horrible. I took my daughter. My daughter had a lazy eye.
Oh,
right,
no.
so she had it would just go fucking rogue on its own.
Yeah,
and it'd be like in pictures and shit, and like, at me not being like a vain person, I never. I'm just like, I love you anyway. I'm like, you're fucking beautiful. I never thought of it. My wife was like very conscious of it. My wife, oh my god, my ex-wife. Her mother's very conscious of it, and was like, we have to fix it because she's gonna grow up. She don't want her to go through all this stuff. And I'm just like, but then I'm like, whatever. Luckily, I'm very. I know that she makes good decisions, so I just go along with that shit.
Can you fix it? I didn't know that's a thing you could fix.
Yeah, dude. As long as you catch it early, or I think you could do it at any age. There's a lot of different people in there. But what it is your eye has like these 3 ribbons on it on each side. And what they do is they make it, they move your eye around.
Okay.
So the lazy eye comes from the ribbons being too loose.
Okay.
Then they don't form like.
And it's just a thing.
Yeah.
You're just naturally born that way.
Exactly.
Just have like whatever.
Or it could be like an injury.
Okay. Yeah.
You can get injured and your eye could be all fucked up. But so what they do, there's 2 ways to correct it. There's therapy that you can do where like. It's like simple as just you keeping your head straight and then just moving your eye up and then doing like a whole box. And then there's like a big number chart and you're just like constantly pointing at numbers and she has to
almost
read
like
them.
a physical therapy. For
Exactly.
Okay.
Like the way you move your eyes and shit, it's freaking crazy. And then there's surgery. And then the surgery, what they do is they go in through the side right here. They go around and then they take the little ribbon off and then they like either like cut it and reattach it and make it like shorter, and then they put it back to your eyeball so that it's tight. And then that's a whole fucking guessing game that you're doing there. The doctor's like, he's like, I've done like so many of these, I'm good at it. He's like, but there's a chance that I don't put it tight enough, or I put it too loose and it doesn't get it right.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, and I might have to do it again,
Wow. And it's like, and you're paying for it.
Yeah, and also it's not buy one, get one.
Right. Yeah, you're paying for me to take a free throw. There's no guarantee I'm going to make it though. So.
Exactly. And I was like, hey.
But what else can you do, right? That's the guy. He's the gatekeeper to fixing that eye.
I was like, That
Oh, man,
seems kind of
that's wild.
suspicious to me. I was like, that seems like a
Right,
good
right.
racket you got going on there. Might not get it. You might have to come back
You
for
won't
another
believe
one.
it. I got it wrong again for a 4th time, but I feel pretty good about that 5th attempt. If you have however many,
Yeah, he's like,
$1,000
he goes, sometimes it happens that people have to come back from the surgery. He goes, but I don't have people that come back for multiple times. He goes, if I don't get on the first try, I'll get on the second. And we're like, that's not very reassuring. Like,
Don't you worry.
yeah, he's like, I will do it. Don't worry. So the kid was pretty brave about it too. She wanted to get it fixed.
How old is she when she got it fixed?
She just got it fixed. Like,
Oh,
this is
okay.
her first year. These are the first
How
school
old is she now? How old
pictures.
is she
She's
now?
9.
Oh, okay. So like,
So these,
and I
well,
think
she's gonna
that's
be
what-
9.
I mean, like, I may be off base here, but I feel like that's like an age when kids first start getting some kind of like self-awareness about how they look to other people and
Yes.
things, and like, fitting in and all that bullshit. But,
all that stuff, dude. And then like the first
stuff that, like,
attraction.
made me go like fucking like rogue and punk rock at some point. Like, fuck fitting in. Like now, like if you would have taken like me at 9, I really wanted to fit in, but like if like 13, 14-year-old me like had a lazy eye, I'd be like lazy eye for life, I'd be like, fuck the world. And that's like that's kind of like how I saw things.
Yeah, you see, you went opposite. I went the other way, where I was like, I got made fun of a lot, and I went into the I need to make people like me.
Right. Well,
mode.
there's the comedy is a defense mechanism,
Yes.
right? Like I was never a tough kid. Like I said, I was short. I was never a fighter. So I mean, it definitely. I definitely developed. I wasn't like the class clown or the funniest person, but like I could make something funny to try to make people like me. Like, and I would try to do that in dire situations.
Yeah, you just try to talk your way out of a beating.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you know what's coming. You're like, oh, last line of defense. I'm going to try to say something really clever right now.
Yeah, we were at. I took my daughter to one of these indoor play places, and she comes back to me crying, and I'm like, "What's the matter?" And like she's like, these kids, they said they don't want to play with me because my eye is weird.
Come on, man. Kids are so they're so honest in their cruelty. Like it's so like I think grown-ups do think like that, but like we just know we're
No
like,
filter.
Like age gives you a filter.
Yeah.
But when you're 8, 7, 9 or whatever, you're just like,
I know,
dude, different.
And it all depends on the parents too, because I'm empathetic.
Right.
So I'm constantly telling my daughter, hey, when you do things like you got to think about how that's going to affect somebody else. And she's also very empathetic. Like I see that in her,
right?
Where she's thinking about how her actions affect other people.
And growing up like that, like going through it herself. I mean, it might have helped her character. Like she might be a better human being for it.
Yeah. It didn't help me that way.
Some people go cold. You know what I'm saying? Like you can only like. Some people you can only pick on for so long or whatever, and like they just turn and they go dark, and like I've had friends that got bullied, and somewhere in their teens or early young adult life or whatever, like they just become a fucking prick and they never come back, and you kind of feel bad because you were on the front lines in high school or whatever, and you saw it happen, and you're like, that sucks. Like the way of the world just kind of ruined this person. Yeah,
for sure. I think I got like an abundance of love at home.
Yeah.
Which I was in a very strict home, but it was like strict with kisses.
All right.
Like, so I always got a lot of love. My mom always told me she loved me a lot. Like,
yeah, my mom's dope. Like, yeah, so like,
I think that matters.
Right. It does. I couldn't see, like, my brother's the same way. Like, I just like, we don't have it in us to be like naturally mean. I mean, maybe we have like mean streaks, but like we're mostly understanding and especially like on first contact and whatnot.
Yeah, man. You could see how they're like some kids. Now I see how some kids act. I'm like, nobody, like people don't tell you they love you enough.
Right? Yeah. Oh, there's a kid who didn't get hugged enough, and it's a shame, because
fucking sad.
Like parenting, like I'm not a parent, but it just seems like from far away that it's very complicated. It's very hard. There's no instruction manual, but like the one thing that's easy to do, that's like a no-brainer, is like, just love your kid. Just fucking show them love. Just hug them, say you love them, and that feels like. You could like mess up a lot of other things and people understand. They're like, right, that's, it's fucking difficult to be a parent, but just fucking love them,
And it's what's
the
fucked
cold
up
world out there, man. You gotta,
is if you weren't getting loved as a kid, then it's hard for you to show the love. Like, 'cause you always hear those fucking stories about dads that don't say I love you or shit like that.
Was it like nurture versus nature? Like you are kind of like a product of your environment in the end.
Yeah, for sure. Especially at home. That and I also had like a lot of television.
Okay. Yeah.
Television was different. I've been giving this a lot of thought lately about like what really is like the difference between the way kids are growing up now and why we have like all these fucked up kids and stuff. And I think a lot of it is, you know, the shit they put in food and shit like that. But I also think it's in the shit that we consumed. As a kid, like I consumed a lot of television, but the television I was consuming was kind of wholesome. You know, they always taught a lot of lessons, like, you know, Cosby Show, Different Strokes, like Wonder Years. Like it was always like a comedy, but then there was always like some moral
at the end,
thing that they're trying to steer you in. And then
until Married with Children came.
But even then, like even shows like Archie Bunker and stuff. Like I rewatched those shows and I'm like, all right, this guy is an incredible racist, right? Like he's a bigot, but they don't make him the hero of it. They're actually shaming him.
Yeah, he's usually the bad guy.
Yes.
And like the lesson
and it's
is
obvious.
learned.
Don't be like that.
Right, right.
You know
Here's
what I mean?
another episode of how to not be like Archie Bunker.
Yes, exactly. And you're getting like
I kind of feel like that's the theme
yeah,
of that
same
show.
thing with
It's
Married
like,
with Children. It's
nobody
like, you
likes
don't
an
want to
Archie
be like
Bunker.
this. Yeah. Like this is a horrible way to live. You see?
Yeah, because it's like Al Bundy acts a certain way, right? And like I remember being young and like people would like imitate him and stuff, but like he was a fucking loser. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they made it obvious,
miserable.
right? The shoe salesman thing, that his glory days was 4 touchdowns. So it's like you could try to make a hero out of him if you wanted to, but it was like that show was letting you know it's like, no, this is not the guy you should aspire to.
Yeah, the real hero of that show was Psycho Dad.
Psycho Dad.
Psycho Dad.
Not Grandmaster B or whatever. What was up?
Grandmaster B. Oh my god! But that's what I mean. Like now, like the shit that kids consume, it's so brainless. I feel like it was easier back in the day to let your kids be raised by television,
right?
Because you know your kids are getting kind of guided in almost on the whole United States almost kind of agreed in the kind of direction you wanted your children to go in.
I think
it was like
still sort of the case,
right?
with like social media. We're like all just kind of silently agreeing that this is what we're gonna.
Like you want your kids, but now everybody's talking about gender identity and like everything's about fucking and this is like not in real world. This is like in social media world, right? Which is what everybody consumes now. So now you're like, instead of consuming these programs with moral things, now we're consuming fights and differences.
Yeah.
Or
and it's all
brainless
differences,
shit.
right? Like it's all I feel like social media is good for that. It just like brings out the two extremities of whatever topic. And so it's like we're all just choosing sides all this. I feel like that's all we're like conditioned to do now is choose a side. And I think that's that's a mistake, you know?
Yeah,
like I think
sure.
that like I don't know. We got to bridge the gap somehow. I don't know how to do it.
But the powers that be have taken Vince McMahon's playbook and they're fucking running with it.
Isn't that crazy? I tell you, man, like when I first started doing comedy, like I used to do these things about like politics turning into pro wrestling. And like, it was a joke, you know? And now like I look at politics and I'm like, it's fucking pro wrestling. There's this clip from, I want to say in this past week where like there was some congressional Senate hearing or whatever, and Bernie Sanders was like the head of the council or whatever. But oh, you know, yeah, and there was like an Oklahoma senator, he used to be like an MMA guy, and the head of the Teamsters, and they were talking shit about each other on Twitter, and like the one guy tweeted something like, anytime, any place, and then the senator was like on a microphone at a congressional hearing, he's like, this is a time. This is a place, and Bernie Sanders like, enough, you two, hitting the gavel,
like
and they're
ready
like,
to get up. Yeah, they both got up. Didn't they get up at some point?
I didn't.
Or they like push back from their chair or something.
I didn't see like any camera of the Teamster guy, but when he was like, when the senator was like, this is any time, this is any place. How about we go at it now? And like you could just hear the Teamster guy in the back. He's like, I'd love to. Like he says it all like weird and professionally, and it's like, and Bernie Sanders.
Oh my
just
god,
like,
he lost it.
He's like, he basically wanted to be like, you're a fucking senator.
Yeah.
Like what the?
Calm the fuck down.
Just like, yep, this is politics in America now. Like
Cutting
promos
on each other,
right? Because because it's like all about how do I go viral? How do I get people? Nobody cares about like a speech anymore. People want like a 30-second soundbite.
A gotcha moment.
Yeah, a gotcha moment. And I think we
this
saw
guy
that coming.
owns this guy. Rand Paul owns Fauci. Yeah,
right.
You know
like
I mean?
it's
repeatedly.
like
then you watch it and you're like, nobody got owned. Like he made a good point. Yeah, but it wasn't like a slam dunk.
Right.
It's always so over fucking hyped.
It's like America's just in roast battle mode now.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to like side with the guy who had the better diss or whatever. I think like we saw this coming though. I feel like slowly but surely we had news and we thought it was better in the 80s. It probably wasn't though. We were probably just kids and we idolized it. But like I think like somewhere in like the 90s, maybe the late 90s, even early 2000s, like it all became about like gotcha moments, and it all became about like the commercials for the news got like a lot more salacious, and then it was like fucking 24/7 cable news, and that's it, man. You know, like fucking people just want to hear people talk shit about other people. That's not really news, though. You know, like,
it's not. I'm so checked out of nothing that's like informing me,
right?
Or like trying to teach me something, like the whole political debate thing. I really believe everything is a lie.
Yeah,
like from the base, not even like the media.
Here's the problem. Nobody's giving you a reason not to believe that.
Yeah,
right? Like that's the problem. Like there's no reassurance.
No, I mean like all of society.
Right.
I mean like the whole civilization as it was built. I really believe like a long time ago when only a small group of people had control of information, I think they set like a whole entire matrix up.
Right.
And then civilization grew off of that lie.
Okay.
And that everything's like a lie.
So they could like shape everything.
So they can shape everything and be in total control. You know what I mean? Like
I think that's kind of because like I remember like
religion and everything. I think religion was like created to control.
Well, see, I think religion was created by people who are just they need meaning in life and they didn't want to believe they're going to die. But I believe controlling people saw that as an opportunity and they got. I think religion at first was like kind of like it came from like a good place. I think people just wanted to believe in something pure, and then manipulative people saw that and they're like, oh, this is a great way to fucking manipulate people and get them to do what we want. And I mean, to a certain degree now in America, politics is the same way. I mean, you know, you just get your talking point on, you know, Fox News or MSNBC, and you can hear people on either extreme side say the same sentences almost word for word over and over, like in different conversations. And then when that happens, I'm like, oh, it must have been a talking point on one of the news channels, and now everyone's just regurgitating it. They're just like it's like we're being brainwashed, but it's like obvious.
It's like a gospel.
Yeah. Like it is like a gospel. It's like the liberal gospel or the conservative gospel, and
it
like
really is.
It's so disgusting. Like
same people that quote Proverbs and hit you with the number, they're gonna hit you with the same slogan or whatever the fucking argument is.
Yeah, it's a slogan. I mean, I guess sloganeering's always been around, but I mean, it's just like it's just amazing to hear like two different people in two different conversations in 2 different days say the same exact sentence about a certain topic, and you're like, where did they get that from? I know they didn't both just have that original thought. And that kind of drives me crazy.
So I'm diving more deeper into pro wrestling.
I tell you what, man, like
Peacock Network.
Peacock. Yeah. Do you watch AEW, man?
Dude, no, you know what I'm doing right now? And I'm so happy I'm doing it. I have gone back and started watching Raw from episode 1.
Like the old one?
And I've watched every single. I'm literally.
You're watching every single.
I've watched it from the beginning because you know what it is. I work from home some days, and that's my background noise.
Okay, right, background. Yeah,
because I can't be in complete silence.
So let me ask you a question. Are you are you up to the Attitude Era?
I just started the Attitude.
Okay.
All right. This is where I'm at. Austin is now going by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, he just like became Stone Cold.
He doesn't have the glass breaking yet music. He's still coming out to the weird Ringmaster music, but he's got black trunks, black boots.
Oh, that's a beautiful moment.
Right there. He's king. He's been King of the Ring already. Mark Henry just debuted.
Okay.
Like it's just forming, and it's so cool to watch how they start dropping the characters.
Has Stone Cold feuded with Bret Hart yet?
No, not yet.
God, that's a beautiful feud.
He's feuding with Mark Merrow right now.
Yeah, see, he gets past. Yeah, and then like once he gets to Bret Hart, you're like, Mark Merrow, who? Like Mark Merrow's cool, he's like an unfortunate fucking victim of like wrestling just got too cool for guys like.
But he's just another guy where his valet blew up bigger than him.
Yeah, Sable, right?
You know, just outshined him.
Yeah, married to Brock Lesnar, by the way.
Married to Brock Lesnar, for sure.
Mother of his child?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's the mother of Vikings.
But definitely.
She's the mother of young Vikings.
I know like Lesnar probably assisted by some drugs, but I mean, his natural form is still got to be like
no. Even as a high schooler, he looked like a
genetics.
fucking He is bone structure, like all of that stuff. He's just another specimen, and then you put the other specimens in him, and you're just forming mutants.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, oh god, I can remember when Brock Lesnar first hit. Like he had like these like shoulder muscles, and there was like guys in pro wrestling have been jacked forever, but when Lesnar came out, it was like he's jacked in a way that like I've never seen it before. And like I'd been watching pro wrestling since I was a kid, Hulkamania and all that. I was like, Jesus Christ, like where'd they find this guy? I mean, it was NCAA wrestler,
but also the guys that were that big never moved like him.
Right. He's a freak.
So when he came in,
he's like in his 40s and he still moves.
When he came in, I'm just like the speed and the size just made everything he did so violent.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh my God. It just, everything he did, those fucking smashes in the corner where he does his shoulders.
Yeah. When he throws a guy around, you're like, fake that, you know, like, all right, you want to say pro wrestling is fake? All right, but you know what? Let Brock Lesnar throw you around for 7 minutes.
Take one of those belly
and
to
then
bellies.
you come backstage. Yeah, you come backstage and tell me how fake that experience was. Because you're gonna hurt, man. You're gonna hurt.
My uncle gets me so angry about that because he like no matter what, he just will not accept that wrestling that there's parts of wrestling that's real.
The way they throw each other around, I don't think they're big because like it's almost like they're big because that's the only way to survive pro wrestling. Because all you do is get thrown around. You're just throwing yourself around on a fucking ring's made of wood. It's
a big ass piece of plywood.
And it's like if it's you or me doing it, we'll break ourselves in half in 2-3 weeks tops, probably.
Well, if I fall off the bed,
right, it
would be a problem.
Right, your back hurts for like a week and a half. Like,
it would be a problem if I just rolled off the bed.
And then these guys, like, they do that shit. And I think what's like impressive and what people like really overlook is like these dudes put on like these impressive physical performances, and then they get up and they do it again the next day. And I don't think there's any other sport is that physically demanding and also that frequent. They have no off season.
And I don't like when people say it's choreographed either, because it's not choreographed.
Right.
A lot of times they call that shit like in the ring.
Yeah, and they can
a choreograph is like they practice the whole match beforehand, and then they'd come out and do exactly like how they practice. They don't. They call that shit in the ring.
Which
one person leads.
More amazing. They're like they're like improvising.
Exactly.
And they're feeding off the crowd, and it's I think like anyone who has beef with pro wrestling, like what they need to do is like they should go to like a local show. They need to see some bad pro wrestling and then be like, oh, this is hard to do, you know? Because like you watch like two bad pro wrestlers have a bad wrestling, you're like they don't get anything, and then all of a sudden like the synapses in your brain start going off. You're like, oh yeah, this is a hard thing to do. You got to be a great athlete. You got to think on your feet.
Yeah, I want to be rich and then just bring doubters to WrestleMania.
WrestleMania is so much fun. I mean that is the place to bring somebody if you want to turn them, because it's become like bigger than wrestling.
It's a fucking event. It's so big.
And they do things to make it fun for everybody. And WWE is like more family friendly, so that's like I love going to like WWE. I'm like an AEW guy these days, but I love when I go to WWE events and like I see families and like they're having fun together. It's like really bringing the families together. I don't know. I think that's like it's a real powerful thing.
I want to do that next year. That's on my list of things to do.
Does your daughter watch?
She watches it, and then like her favorite wrestler is Bianca Belair.
Okay, yeah,
because of the hair.
Star, by the way, Bianca Belair. Yeah. But this is
she
such
just
a great
likes the
time.
hair. She's like, she hit her with her hair.
She does, dude. So there's this thing they do with Bianca Belair. She doesn't do it all the time, and which I like because they keep it special. If Bianca Belair uses her hair, it means like it's a hard match or whatever. But like almost without fail, anytime she whips someone with her hair, the opponent ends up uploading pictures to Instagram later of like the whip marks. There's no way to fake that. Dude, when you hear that shit whip against somebody else's bare skin, like that's a real thing that's happening. Someone is getting whipped.
She's like a walking leather strap match.
It really is like a leather strap. It's insane. And just like I've seen some like female wrestlers just on Instagram. I'm like, ooh, that looks like it fucking stings.
Man, as I'm going through these old Monday Night Raws. When all this stuff was happening live, I wasn't watching wrestling like that. I'd watch it on Saturdays because it'd be on regular television.
Right.
But I didn't have cable, so I missed all of this stuff. So I'm going back. So now I'm going back and I'm watching these Raws, and it's like filling in gaps for me because I'd watch these Saturday main events, and you'd miss a lot because you missed the pay-per-view, you missed the Monday Night
all
Raw.
the high marks, but you didn't know the filler.
And then they would do like little filler, on in between because they'd only be like 2 matches or 3 matches on Saturday main event, and then Russ would be talking about what happened on Raw or the pay-per-view. And like I'm watching all these characters that when I was little, it was like the biggest thing to me. Like, especially like Shawn Michaels. And I'm watching Shawn Michaels and I'm like, God damn, I was gay. Like, as a little kid, I was like, I fucking really love this guy. And like, I'm watching what he's doing in the ring and he's just like fucking
he's like shaking his ass,
and shit.
singing his own dude.
And I'm like, how did I get this so cool? Like, how did I think this was so cool?
I feel like one of the craziest moments in pro wrestling is the first time Shawn Michaels' entrance song, I'm Just a Sexy Boy. Like, it used to be sung by Sensational Sherry. Sherry Martel, rest in peace, and then he lost her as a valet somewhere along the point. I'm not sure of all the specifics, and they re-recorded the song with him singing, and it worked. And it was just like, I think about that, like, what an insane moment. Like, whose idea was that? It's like, we'll just have Shawn sing his own entrance song. Like, it just seems like such a bad idea, but now it's like 30 years later or whatever, like he'll come out, he doesn't wrestle anymore, but he'll come out and do like a thing in the ring, and like they hit the song and everyone knows it, it's like it's popular,
it's fucking iconic.
But he was like it's so weird because he was like such a showman, but he was like also like a really talented pro wrestler. Like it went like in the ring, like he was so good.
He told a great story.
Yeah, and I think people kind of like slept on that, but I don't know, just like he was good at like the smoke and mirrors, like covering it all up with,
and he made other people look great.
Yeah,
he could fucking have a match with anybody.
Yeah, he was that guy.
Yeah,
like if you wanted to have a great, it was him and Bret Hart. Like if you want to have like the best match of your career, those are your guys.
Yeah, man, and it's like I'm having this whole perspective on all this stuff that I've. I had this idea of how things were but I'm watching that as like all my memories are the memories of a kid.
Right, yeah.
So now I'm watching it as an adult and I'm seeing all this stuff and I'm watching and I'm especially looking at how they're using the roster, right? Because they weren't that deep.
Yeah.
Like they, Attitude Era, had endless talent, like the amount of guys that they had that
almost
were
too much, which is the problem they have now too. But because
But back then it was like, you had British Bulldog was like in the main event all the time. And I'm like, this guy's horrible at promos.
You don't like Bulldog?
He was horrible at promos.
Oh, probably.
Wrestling, he was fucking amazing.
There's a lot of guys that are bad at
so bad at promos back then.
It's almost unfortunate. Like some of the most talented guys, like they stink on the mic. And it's like pro wrestling. It's sports entertainment.
Psycho Sid.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but what? Psycho Sid. All he ever needed was like someone else to talk.
He needed a Heyman, bro.
And he just had to stand there and look menacing. That's all they ever really.
He had never had a Heyman.
Never. They just like put him out there by himself. They go talk for yourself.
Yeah. He would have, bro, if he had a Jim Cornette, like Vader had,
right?
They made Vader look like when he first came in, the first thing he did was go on and destroy Gorilla Monsoon. That was the first person he destroyed.
They never,
they suspended him.
They never gave him the championship of WWE.
No, that's
that
because
kind of bumps me out.
The click didn't like him.
I don't like that. He was WCW champ. He was a champ in New Japan Pro Wrestling, which like
he should have had a good heel run.
He should have had a heel.
He should have had a big heel run.
If Yokozuna could be a heel champion, then Vader was like 10 times the pro wrestler Yokozuna was. You know what I'm saying? I
know, but you could see that it's obvious the influence the Click had.
That's kind of wild,
bro. Because every match is them.
Yeah,
that before Diesel and Razor Ramon left, and 1, 2, 3 getting Hunter. It was like all of them going.
Right.
Also, I'm watching Hunter pay the price for the curtain call.
Because
all of a sudden he just starts fucking losing, and then he not only does he start losing, but then Mr. Perfect comes out after every match and takes his girl.
That's like who was his girl at the time?
He kept coming with a different woman. That's how when
it was when he was still Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the Connecticut blue blood or whatever.
Exactly. He would do the bow.
He needed to go on a losing streak. That character sucked, anyways. Like, I mean, look, like in the moment, you're like, you feel bad for him, right? Like if you're living in the moment, you're like, oh, that sucks. He did the curtain call, which broke kayfabe. I don't know if we should try to explain that. And then but then like he goes in this losing streak, and everyone's like, yeah, this guy sucks. And then he was forced to be more himself, and reinvent his character. And, like it becomes legendary. It's one of the
best.
Triple
I can't wait to see that.
Now he runs WWE. He's the head of creative. He is pro wrestling to a certain degree. So it's funny that he had that dark moment where you're like, oh, I don't know about this guy's career. It's going nowhere now. And maybe marrying Steph McMahon helped a little. I don't know. But he was always great in the ring, great on promos. He did all the right things.
That's how Mark Merrow broke in, and Sable. Sable's first appearance was as one of the Triple H's girls at the pay-per-view, and then he lost. And then he ran into Mark Merrow in the back, and Mark Merrow got into a fight with him.
I totally don't remember that.
and then left with Sable, and then Sable was his girl.
Oh man, Triple H's character for a while was just losing his girl.
Kept
that
losing
was his character.
Girl. Yeah. He kept bringing out these girls, which was like
he would
weird.
just show up to work every day, and be like, I wonder how they're gonna make me lose my girl this week.
It just kept, Mr. Perfect wasn't even wrestling. He just come from the back and go say something to the girl's ear and then walk off with her as Triple H lost in an embarrassing way.
Oh, no.
And then he'd get up and he'd be like, what the fuck happened?
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't remember little things like that for certain. There's so much pro wrestling. It's hard to remember it all.
That's a great lesson though for like life. Like he had like such a major setback where I'm sure he didn't even know.
Right, he was probably worried.
Yeah, like where the fuck do I go from here? Like unless they were like, hey, listen, just pay the price for a little while, you'll be back. And they told him.
Meanwhile,
just like,
Shawn Michaels, who was also part of the curtain call, they were like to the moon with this guy.
Yeah, he was the fucking champ. Yeah. And I watch a lot of these what are they called? When they fucking talk shit about stuff, cutting oh man. There's like that lingo that they use. Where somebody's talking something straight, like he's
a shoot.
Yes, these shoot interviews, right? This the old school wrestling lingo. Doing the shoot interviews, and like most of Bret Hart's shoot interviews are complaining about Goldberg.
He complains about everybody. It's almost like disheartening because he's like one of the
so
greatest.
Disheartening, which is a funny fucking way to describe it.
Man. Why are you so Bret Hartening?
Bret Hartening. Yeah, man, it is because you're like, fuck, man.
He
why
shit
are you
on Triple H.
complaining?
He said Triple H in some shoot interview. He said 4 out of 10. I was like, oof.
Yeah, that's a terrible fucking rating. Triple H is one of the greatest heels of all time. Easy. His return at the Garden.
Who, Triple H's?
Yeah,
was that a Royal Rumble or
no? It was a Monday Night Raw.
It was just a Raw.
Yeah, he just came back. It was I think it was the Monday Night Raw after the pay-per-view before Rumble because when that Monday Night Raw he declared himself for the Rumble.
Okay. I do remember like you see the pop a lot. Like
man, I watch that sometimes just to get the freaking goosebumps.
Good. Yeah. I wish a crowd would do that for me.
I'm like, oh my god! I remember watching that live.
You ever watch like a wrestler bomb? Because a lot of pro wrestling's fucking live. So like sometimes you'll be watching a wrestler cut a promo in a ring, and these are big crowds, and they're bombing, and
they're
I'm
not
just
getting
like,
any reaction.
That doesn't look nice.
Yeah, I know they're bombing because I start feeling like how I feel at an open mic.
Yeah, it's like you almost don't want to watch it anymore. You're like, okay, how do I get out of this room? And there's like thousands of people.
You just don't look at the TV no more. You just feel embarrassed for him.
I remember like Jon Stewart did a thing for WWE. He was like in a program for a while, and I can't remember if it was actually SummerSlam or maybe it was like a Raw before or after. But he was like doing a promo, and it was not going well. And like you can't do like stand up,
he kept but he kept also saying things and jumping.
Yeah.
Like he was like over exaggerating,
booing him. They were just sitting on their hands,
waiting for you to do something. Yeah.
Right, and you're just like, man, he's just. That's Jon Stewart. He's the host of the Daily Show at that time, so he's like one of the biggest names in comedy.
Yeah,
and he's just performing to silence thousands of people. Silence, and I'm like, man, that
was a rough one.
Brutal, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely brutal.
That was a rough one.
One of the best comics in the world. Go to pro and get crushed in the ring.
There's so many. I haven't been watching AEW as much because it's on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't even watch Raw.
They just had
really.
somebody drink somebody's blood on their last pay-per-view.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a Hangman match?
Yeah, Texas Death Match. It was brutal, man. There was like a staple gun. Oh man, it was challenging at times.
I like what AEW is doing. Yeah. I like the signings.
Yeah, the signings are great. The roster is great. A lot of people have like take issue with the booking that's like inconsistent, or they don't showcase all their talent. But
You're never gonna make everybody happy.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
I just think the roster is amazing, and every time I watch anything that they do, there's always at least like one banger match on every show.
They have a lot of fucking great talent, and I really love MJF.
He's great.
Like the stride he's hit.
Yeah.
And how and like being able to see when from AEW's beginning and watching him be like the homegrown talent because he wasn't anywhere else before.
No, I mean I think he did things with Major League Wrestling, which is I mean they got a national presence, but they're not.
But he was like not TNA. He was never WWE like television. I think he did WWE like dark matches or something.
He did he famously was a security guard once in an NXT thing with Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe pushed him, and AEW actually revisited that to start a rivalry with them, which is still sort of ongoing actually.
He just dropped his title. He just let his title go so he can challenge MJF. He got the TV championship, right?
But he's also
I like Samoa Joe, man.
And I love Samoa Joe. I would love to see him get a title run before it's too late. He's getting old. He's old guy, and he's injury prone. Him, Bryan Danielson. These guys are like all-time greats, but we're watching them in their twilight now.
I know, but fucking AEW.
They messed up when they fired CM Punk, though.
You think so?
It hurt attendance, I think. Everyone's like, oh, attendance is low because the product sucks. I think people are just bitter about CM Punk. I think he's that much of a draw with wrestling fans. So I'm not going to say like the world outside of wrestling, the mainstream, but with wrestling fans, like
cult of personality.
Yeah, dude, he fucking matters. Whether he was being a dick or not backstage, I don't know. Maybe he did need to be fired. But I definitely feel like that had an immediate effect on their business.
Yeah. So many people say that he's like that. What do they say? But you know what I
but he's
like
so entertaining. Like
he's very entertaining, but it's part of his personality. I feel like
it's almost like that's what you get.
Yes.
If you want the entertainment, that's what you get because that's who he has to really be. He has to really be a dick to be that good of a dick on the mic. You know what I'm saying? Like he could be such a dick on a microphone, but like entertaining. Like, we all watch TV shows and there's like a dick character we love. You know, every show has like not every show, but a lot of shows have like a Dr. House, and we all love that guy. But he's an asshole. That's his draw, you know, and that's what CM Punk kind of was. He's like an edgy dick.
But you know, like some people, the asshole's endearing because they're doing things that you wish you could do.
Right. I mean, I think that Punk was like the anti-hero.
That's why I love Larry David.
Yeah.
Like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Because he thinks things. He says things.
He's saying things that you're like, God damn, I wish I could do that. Like I wish I could. See somebody park.
He's like George Costanza on steroids.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, fucking, I think that shit all the time. I just would never say it to another human being, you know?
You see somebody park in the handicap spot, and then you like confront them about it.
Right.
I would never.
Right. But you thought about it,
But
probably.
I thought about it.
Right?
I get in my car, I'm like, I wish I could just tell that guy what an asshole he is. But this guy just does it. So I feel like there's something endearing to people about that.
We all got a little inner asshole in us that we want to let out.
For sure. That's why Stone Cold blew up so much because he was doing what everybody wished they could do. Tell their boss to go fuck themselves.
Because then they were like, fuck it, let's have him fight the boss. And it's just amazing. It's just so entertaining.
Oh, man, I can't wait to get to that.
Who doesn't want a Stone Cold Stun their own boss and then drink a beer over his body, you know? Like,
you know what's...
Not me. My boss is a woman. I would never, but...
You know what's crazy, though, is I'm getting to the part now where I can't put Raw on while my daughter's there.
Because it's really inappropriate.
It really starts getting
wrestling now is very good. I feel like now it's like in a good place for women. But yeah, back then it was definitely like...
Oh, it's so degrading.
Yeah, very degrading.
Oh, my God.
Panty matches.
Yeah, I didn't even get that far yet. Just the shit they say. Man. But like King, just to say, the stuff that King says...
He's such a dirty dog. Like,
but this is before... Even that, he would say like the most racist things. Yeah. He would just say such awful things. Like he kept saying things about Savio Vega getting deported and things like that. So he's like, he's not even, he's an American citizen, you asshole.
Right. They would just do, because like pro wrestling is so built on like racist tropes, especially back like in the 80s and whatnot, right? Like, so I just think like Jerry Lawler is just an old school guy, and that's where he came from. And he's like, I know what'll piss these people.
So
he's the heel commentator. He's like, I gotta piss these guys off. And you're like,
so he knows he's saying the mean shit, and then Vince is like, oh, calm down.
Calm down. I got a Latin market to worry about.
But they keep bouncing around announcers, all this stuff. I'm so I'm
WWE
so
always
fucking.
does that though. Even now, they're always like
They're
playing
still
with
cycling them around.
I think that they just don't want to ever feel like they're stuck. They don't want it to ever feel stale.
Yeah.
So you keep mixing up the lineup.
How do you think WWE goes after Vince is done?
He's done. He is done.
No, I mean like
We're
dead.
there. So there's a lot of crazy like rumors about like next year. Like they're talking. I heard one thing about how they kind of want to start doing like UFC WWE pay-per-view weekends, which I don't know.
1-2 combos.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. And look, these are just rumors that you read on the internet, so I don't know if it's true. I'm a little concerned that like at some point the company that owns it now, TKO, I think it is, like I'm worried that like at some point they're just going to be like, let's just sell WWE, and they'll just sell it to someone and be Disney or something. Because that's my only concern is that like, the McMahons love pro wrestling. I don't know if TKO really cares about pro wrestling. I think they just saw an amazing opportunity to buy
it's a great asset.
Globally recognized entertainment. I don't even want to say company. It's more than a company. It's like an empire.
For sure.
It's the NFL of pro wrestling.
Yeah. It's it has, and that catalog that they have.
Yeah. I mean, for the catalog alone, right?
Catalog alone is crazy. And the sponsors, they pull so many sponsors but I don't even know how that works anymore. Are they still on they're still on USA, so you do have ads.
So they're working new cable deals, and I think SmackDown is going to USA. I don't know where Raw is going. And then
I want to
NXT,
see Raw go on Amazon Prime.
You want to see what?
What if they like put Raw on Amazon Prime or something?
I don't think they would. I think they'd want it to have more exposure. I feel like Amazon Prime doesn't. I don't know. Like the NFL gives them the Thursday night game.
You're for sure limited in your audience.
They're not trying to give them a Sunday game. The NFL.
You'd have to. Amazon would have to give WWE or that company like $1 billion.
Yeah,
for the rights.
I can't see that happening.
For
I
like
have
a
Prime,
year or
so
so.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why.
But I'm just surprised they never went to like their streaming app. But I guess you're right. If you want to bring in more fans, you have to give them the option to be able just to tune in.
Right. I mean,
randomly.
I think that, that's always a challenge for pro wrestling is how do you get more fans? Like wrestling has a big fan base, but you want more. You always want more. And WWE is making such a push now globally. They're setting up pay-per-views in France and Germany next year. They already have like a presence in England.
John Cena knows Chinese.
What's that?
John Cena knows Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. John Cena is such a company man.
Yeah.
I mean, he pretty much learned Chinese just to do like PR for WWE. It's
so sick.
Yeah, it's insane. They're just like, why wouldn't a company want to buy that?
I was so fucking shocked when Vince McMahon sold it because I was for sure thinking that guy was going down with the ship.
I thought he was going to die backstage.
Just all of a sudden, the fucking show stops. They're like,
he's going to come out of WrestleMania and be like, body slam me.
Oh, my God.
Let someone put him down for good. I thought he would, because I feel like he's going to be one of these like old rich bastards that's just going to live till 100. And I was like, man, he's going to be backstage till 100, calling the shots. And everyone's going to be like, oh, there's crazy old Vince. And I was very surprised by the move.
Fuck, man. Do you think what the hell was his thinking behind it? I guess the money, he just wanted to cash out, maybe?
I think that's part of it. I think it's like two things. I think one, it's like he sees the writing on the wall. He's not going to live forever. So it's like, let me cash in one more time, big time, one more jackpot before it's too late. The other thing is like, it really looked like for a second, like he was going to go down on these like charges.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think like a part of him was like, maybe it was like legal advice, or maybe he just wanted to disappear.
It's gonna come out. We gotta get rid of the business.
Right,
it's all gonna come out.
Right. I mean, maybe he loves WWE so much that he didn't want his stink to bring the whole product down. So he's like, let me just sell it. Let me make a lot of money, and hopefully somebody else will take care of it.
The same guy that took out the territories.
Right? Yeah. Fucking
sold that shit for $1 billion. Have you watched the new season of Dark Side of the Ring?
No, I don't. So I don't really watch a lot of Dark Side of the Ring, only because I watch a lot of wrestling, and so like by the time it's I'm sitting around thinking about a TV show, I don't want to watch a TV show about wrestling. It's like I'm tired of wrestling,
Yeah, no, I really like.
But people love it, and honestly, that's like a good way to I think reach out to non-wrestling fans, because non-wrestling fans come up to me and knowing I'm a wrestling fan, they'll talk about a Dark Side episode that they saw.
Yeah.
The Ric Flair one got a lot of traction outside of.
Yeah, man, that guy's fucking story is crazy.
Yeah, and he just got back. He's in AEW doing things.
They got the first episode of this new season was about Chris Candido and Tammy Lynn.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, that's funny because they were just on, like, I'm watching them now, and now it's where the same thing. Sonny got so much bigger than Chris.
Yeah.
And now Chris is out of the picture, and Sonny's fucking with the smoking guns. She's with fucking every other fucking tag team. She's all over Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. I mean, it's a business, She got over with the fans in her own way, and
she was so hot. I remember being a kid, I was like, Jesus Christ.
She's like, is she still even? I don't know.
She's in jail.
She's in jail?
Yeah, she killed a
I was
woman.
going to ask if she's still alive.
She killed this old lady.
Oh, okay. Wow.
In a car accident.
Okay.
She had a DUI and she didn't have no license. She's like, that was like her 6th DUI. She's already suspended license and everything.
Hence the Dark Side of the Ring episode. Yeah, that makes sense. That's how you get a Dark Side of the Ring. Have they done a Superfly one yet?
Yeah.
Oh man,
they've done a Superfly one.
Superfly killed his girlfriend.
They did. I think one of the best ones I watched was the one about.
I know Nick Gage got one. Do
Did
you
he?
know who Nick Gage is?
Yes.
He's like a current wrestler.
Yes, that was a good one too.
And they gave him one, and I thought that was so interesting
The
because
death
it
matches.
seems like it seems like the theme of Dark Side is like these legendary guys, and I'm not trying to shit on Nick Gage.
Yeah.
The last thing I need is for him to hear this and want to beat me up. I'm very scared. I just thought that was kind of cool. I was like, oh, they're really taking a shot on like maybe a lesser known guy now.
There's a lot of. It's just a lot of
But
like.
he's like a violent dude, and he has like.
It's more
sort
about
of-
lore
Yeah.
than it is like the legends. It's more about lore around the ring. Like, damn, I can't think of that
I know they
big
had a-
fucking guy, Brody.
Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody,
because
that
I
was
love
a
Bruiser
fucking
Brody.
crazy
He's
story,
like just
dude.
such a fun character in the 80s.
What a crazy story.
That's a sad story because like he
Terrible.
got stabbed in a locker room in Puerto. He was just wrestling in Puerto Rico. He didn't really do anything wrong. He wasn't like a bad dude. He didn't have any like he didn't have a reputation of fucking people over or anything like that. And
Yeah.
it was just I don't know.
They just were moving in the wrong territory.
right. Yeah.
Trying to fucking call shots. He
He
was
was
promoting. Yeah.
He was big.
He was promoting
like
and he was like, you're not going over. I'm going over. And the girls didn't fucking like and killed him over it. It's like, what?
that's unreal, isn't it?
Fucking craziest thing. Sliced him in there.
And he was probably like one of the biggest names like outside of WWE at that time. Well, like at that time maybe.
The crazy part too is the
WWE
cover up. The cover up afterwards with like the ambulance and the cops and shit like that.
I mean, that's not the internet age. You could, back then you could. murder a
And he's an
guy in
outsider.
another faraway place. In Puerto
Yeah.
Rico. Not that Puerto Rico's that far away, but I mean, like,
There was another.
It's easier to get away with shit like that. If everyone agreed that nobody saw nothing,
Yeah,
then
that's
it.
exactly how it was.
Nobody saw nothing.
Nobody saw nothing. No
that's
witnesses.
right.
I forgot who was in there too. Was it
a harder thing to
Atlas?
get away with. Tony Atlas was
Tony
there.
Atlas was there, and
He was on the
always
show.
regrets.
I don't think he saw it happen.
Yeah, no, he did. He
Oh, he did?
witnessed it, and but the problem is that he had already flew back to the
okay.
States, and then when they had the trial, they never called him as a witness. So he,
Oh, that's so weird.
they never called anybody that was there that weren't those two Spanish guys. They didn't call
That's
anybody
so
else as
weird.
a witness.
Who's,
yeah.
who's the lawyer for the Bruiser Brody estate?
Bro.
It's like that's the first thing I would do is look at the card and get all
Mhm.
these wrestlers here. Should've
He
been
was
like a
right there.
pay-per-view.
He
Should've been a
didn't see
pay-per-view.
the stabbing, but he saw only them two go in there, and then the guy came out bloody and fucking bruises in there stabbed.
I mean, not that I could do it right. You can't bring him back.
No, you can't.
That's
but
a
it's just
sad
a fucking
story.
crazy.
It's a
Yeah,
sad,
man.
sad story. It's just
There's a bunch of them. There was another one, Curious George. There was another wrestler.
no, George the Animal
Ju-
Steel or
No. It was like Gorgeous George,
Gorgeous George,
right? It was
okay, yeah.
like a Spanish guy
Was he Spanish? I just thought he was like
or Italian, maybe.
but he like cross dressed, right? Like he was like dressed like a woman.
No. It was a young. No, I think he was Spanish. It was a young guy, and this was also in the 80s. And he was a young guy, and he got mixed up with like the wrong people, and the way he died was like mysterious. And
I don't
he
know
was
how
like
he did. Yeah,
yeah. That was another good.
You hear his name a lot, but I have no idea how he died.
That was another good episode of it. But that's all it is. It's like lore and like, you know, the fucking first episode of the whole series is Chris Benoit.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's like you don't get darker than that. That's
get
the
it out of
first
the way,
two
right?
episodes.
Like,
Let's just crack
that's either
this
the first
open.
episode or like the season finale of the first year.
Yeah, no, they opened with that. You were like, what the fuck, brother? The fucking ring is, how darker can it get?
That was a dark time for wrestling, man. That was,
Bro. Yeah, because then
sometimes I
everybody
think-
got on the steroid kick and shit. Nobody was really talking about CTE back then.
right. Yeah, and I just felt like wrestling finally was in the mainstream news, and it was just for like a shitty, shitty
worst.
reason.
I think I was a senior in high school when that happened. And I remember like we used to talk about wrestling all the time at shop.
Yeah.
The kids I sat with in shop class, we'd talk about wrestling, and then the shop teacher sat there, and then when we ever started talking about wrestling, he'd be like, shut up with that gay shit already. And we're like, oh God, this fucking
I think-
shop teacher was fucking.
I think a crazy thing is like, I'm pretty sure I remember this correctly. Like right after Chris Benoit died and the details weren't out, like they did like a
Memorial for
a
him.
tribute show.
The very first
And it was
next
like
night.
very good feelings, like
Yep.
rest in peace, our good friend Chris Benoit. And then the details come out, and you're like, ooh.
Then they erased him from history.
Yeah, why did you do that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think was it the next night they did a memorial for him, or because he missed the pay-per-view? There was a pay-per-view, he missed it, and then the next night was the Raw, and they did like the memorial for him, and then everything came out
Yeah.
like the next day, and they're like, ugh, we take that back.
Yeah.
Let's actually delete him from the internet.
yeah. Tell me when you watch that Raw. It's probably going to skip right over it. It's going to be like, this Raw doesn't.
You know what?
this
That's
Raw-
going to be like,
this Raw
where's
doesn't-
episode 1113? It's fucking gone from the history books. Yeah, they erased that guy from everything.
Yeah.
You can't even talk about him.
That'll
Shit.
do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I know.
The NFL doesn't want to touch OJ Simpson, and he's still alive. So it's
Dude,
like Chris Benoit. It's just
OJ's on, you know, Cameron and Mace,
yeah.
right? The rappers, they have a sports show called It Is What It Is. And like it's blew up where like all the football players and everybody talks about it. So and one of their analysts is OJ.
Come on. They like use OJ?
And he called like he does it via Skype.
Oh, wow.
And they're always asking him his opinion, and then Cameron's fucking talking to him and shit, and Cameron just talks to him like he's in the street.
That's insane. But I'm also probably going to go home and like Google this
Yes,
now.
yeah, because
Like-
OJ
like I have, like-
has his legit analyst.
Like I have like a dark interest in.
that's exactly
like
why
OJ.
they do it.
I want to
because-
know what OJ Simpson thinks about the Josh Allen Buffalo Bills. You know, I can't help it. I want to know. He's got to have opinions.
He has valid professional opinions.
He was a great running back.
It's coming from somebody that's an expert
He
in this
would-
fucking shit.
If he never, did
If
what
you
he
never
did,
tried to decapitate his wife and her
He'd
fucking
be-
boyfriend and a random dude, it wasn't even her boyfriend. It was just a guy that was bringing like a phone or some shit. He's like forgot something.
he'd be
No,
the
he
biggest-
forgot.
He'd be the biggest. He was like America's sweetheart.
She forgot her wallet, and he was bringing it to her.
Is
He was
that
like
really the
dropping
story?
off. Yeah, they weren't like, I don't know if they were dating
Yeah.
so much as like he was like just dropping something off or some shit, and he thought they were like
Just
fucking.
like, yeah, you know, you think like you work hard, you become rich and famous, like you're like, that's it, I'll be happy, you know. But then
Yeah.
like you see that and you're like, maybe not. Like, you know, like there's always gonna be something that's going to like
What's crazy is how did he get off? Meanwhile, before, like right before the murders, he was just doing a show where he was with Navy SEALs, and they were teaching him how to. They were teaching him how to kill people.
oh no.
Like how to sneak up. Literally, the first episode that they recorded was like sneaking up behind people and slitting their throats.
And isn't that how like
How to
you
do
know,
it, and that's how he killed them.
Man.
And that's everything they said is like how he did the murders is how like
First
you
off,
would.
why are the Navy SEALs teaching people how to kill people? Keep that shit to yourself. You're the Navy SEAL. You're an elite force. Just keep it elite.
And they were gonna put it on TV.
Yeah. Oh no.
They were gonna put it on TV.
You ever hear about like Tiger Woods? Like he like had this like he would like train with Navy SEAls. Like he was like obsessed.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew that.
And I mean, because like in his prime, like he was jacked.
Yeah, he's
and
Jack dude.
but they always say that that's also like a lot of the reasons why he was like injury prone in parts of his career, because he was like working out too hard because he had this like weird Navy SEAL obsession.
Oh my God, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
Because they close.
They're closed. Sorry, guys. I
They're closing soon.
turned this podcast into a wrestling podcast. I didn't mean to.
No, I do. I knew this was. I knew what this was
I
gonna be.
also watch Jeopardy every night. I know I told him to go home and Google clips of Cameron talking to OJ, but actually I'm gonna watch Jeopardy and then Google that.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Also,
it is what it is. Right
definitely check out the fucking newsletter. I wanted to ask you about that thing.
joshwells.substack.com. I have a newsletter. Right?
Yes, I love the newsletter because you find a way to express your entire point of view, like in this newsletter. So you do like your opening,
right,
and then you have like these sections of like books you're reading, things you're watching, like music you listen to, or like a concert you've been to, or like a comedy set you had, like you.
Yeah.
And it's so
kind of just like a weekly recap of what I'm up to.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just what the media I'm consuming or whatever.
Exactly.
Right? Like movie, TV, book, album.
But the way it all comes out isn't like this structured newsletter that you would get like in like a
I like to think like I'm like sort of like, I don't know, slowly painting or drawing an image of who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, but like it seems like what I'm talking about isn't that important. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like a sports section or whatever, but I somehow or some way get like my thoughts and opinions in there. I don't know. It's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I started doing it because everybody has a podcast, and I was like, what would be different? And I know newsletters are like an old idea, but I was like, you don't see people pushing them.
It's
that
great.
hard. And then I got into it, and then I started seeing like, you know, there's a lot of other people, like especially like on Substack, they have newsletters. Like it's still like a valid,
for sure,
you know, form of,
and people consume them. I do. Like I get you. I don't read
love
every episode.
Yeah.
I don't read every one that comes out, but it always depends on when it hits.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Sometimes it hits, and I'm like in the middle of and I'm just like, oh look, and I fucking read it. Or sometimes it hits, and then I'm like, oh man, Josh doing that, and then I just forget to go back and look at it because there's 7 million things in the world to consume. But then it's so
when I email that to you, I'm competing with the rest of the internet,
the whole world. No, but every time I open it, it is a good view. I always know like what Josh Wells is up to. I'm like, Josh Wells is in good condition because his newsletter has like a positive vibe to it. It's got to be therapeutic too.
I think it is. It's also like it is therapeutic. Once I start doing it, like I've been doing it for a while. I've been doing it.
You've been
4
so
years.
consistent about it, and that's
I try
fucking
to do
awesome.
it once a week. I've missed a week here or there.
No man, but you've been consistent monthly.
But like I try to do it like I try to write it on Wednesday or Thursday and send it out on Friday. And like once Wednesday comes around, like I'm so stressed out at first. I'm like, oh, this again. Like, oh, why do I do this? I got to do this every week. But then I just sit down and force myself to start writing. And I think it's like a good exercise. Like it forces me to write, and it's an outlet that's not comedy per se. Like I allow myself. I don't force myself to be funny in the newsletter. Like if it happens, it happens. But it's just kind of like this outlet to just more free form, just whatever I'm thinking at the moment, that's what you're going to get. And there's something kind of freeing about that in a way. Yeah. I also like, I'm a big reader. I think reading's cool. So I just like putting something out there that promotes reading. Not that I'm a fucking great writer or anything, but you know, just a fun little quick thing for people to consume.
Yeah. I love that fucking newsletter. And I think it's different than anything anybody else is doing, especially like in our circles. And you're consistent with it, and it's gotten so much better.
Yeah,
quality. You're putting pictures in there.
It sucked at first, right?
You're adding. It didn't suck. You just see that shit. Right. I remember when you first started putting it out, and I was like,
"That's the hardest part about trying anything new." And we know this now because of comedy. Like I'm so scared to do anything new now because I know how long it takes to suck at something.
Yeah.
Right. Like that. Like you think about year one of comedy, you're just bombing, and you know it, and you're like, "This, I'm awful. I'm always around other people, and they're way better at it than me." And it's like when you try something new, it's like, oh, I'm gonna write a thing once a week and send it out for people to read. You're like embarrassed at first. It's like, oh, who wants to read this? But like I feel pretty okay about it now, 4 years in, I guess.
Yeah, it's good though, man. It's a good piece of work, and it's something good too that you can look back on.
Yeah.
Have you ever read any older ones, or you just post and ghost?
Sometimes, yeah. I mostly
post and ghost.
Yeah, like
you can't go back.
I'm awful even with comedy. I hate recording my sets. I hate watching myself.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I almost feel like it's like a Zen Buddhist thing. Like it happened and now it's gone. Like the moment's gone, and I don't ever want to revisit it.
But it's good. It's good for you though because it's part of your legacy. And this is something I've been thinking too about.
It's out there, yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this ever since Quinn died. You
Rest
know,
in peace, Anthony Quinn.
rest in peace,
Much
Anthony
love.
fucking Quinn. I've been thinking about this ever since he died and seeing how everybody came together to remember him. And more importantly, the impact he had on other people.
Right.
And I was like, you know, that's obviously because of who he was and how the genuine interest he took in other people.
He was so, yeah.
But he left behind a body of work.
Yeah.
And if you want to get to know Anthony Quinn,
It's
you
out
could
there.
just listen to his podcast.
Right. Yeah.
Conspiracy. You can listen to all his different things. You can look on his Instagram, you know, and I think like the newsletter, you doing that is something for you. Same
Right.
thing with like my podcast.
So that when I die, you won't forget me.
Exactly. Or people could just go back and
I'll be dead, but-
and know you and like get that dose of Josh Wells.
So you're saying if I want to up my numbers, I gotta die. That's how you get.
That's how you get
That's
it,
how you
baby.
get subscribers.
That is how we're gonna fucking blow our shit up.
We got bad news, people.
We're
Paying
just gonna
attention to this
die.
podcast right now. Josh Wells just died. His newsletter, joshwells.substack.com.
Hell yeah, bro.
Read the words of a dead man.
And where could we find you on Instagram?
At Josh Ain't Funny. That's my Instagram. That's my X, Twitter, whatever. Threads. What is it? Is Threads the new
Threads.
Instagram?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is anyone really doing that anymore?
I go on there
I
and
post links
it's
on there for the
so
newsletter.
confusing. Yeah, because everybody
but-
says they followed me, and I go to follow them, and then they don't follow me. They didn't follow me. It was just a trick for me to follow them. I don't get it at all. I'm not even good on Twitter, so I don't even bother
Right,
with
yeah,
Threads.
yeah. My Twitter is
Yeah.
my Twitter game is not good. I
Nah,
just
I post pictures.
I'm just on
That's
there
it.
like it feels like an obligation. Like you're supposed to be on there.
My shit now is fucking with people in the comments, saying shit in
In
the
Twitter?
comments. Oh no, on Instagram.
Oh, on
I
Instagram.
like posting comments on
Really?
stuff. I try to be like really witty and funny in comments and
that's
seeing
funny
how many
'cause
people I like.
Yeah, I feel like Instagram's like I feel like Facebook is where people go to like get witty in the
No,
comments.
the comment section on Instagram is gets pretty wild sometimes, especially like on
well,
like
when you go to like someone who's like got like a
go to any Biden post
Okay.
and look in the comments, and it's
Alright,
like a
yeah.
fucking disaster. It's people fighting. It's like a bloodbath in there.
all right, that's on my
Or-
list.
yeah,
Cameron and OJ Simpson, and, then a Joe Biden Instagram.
I'm gonna
post,
send
not
you-
For the post,
I'm
for
gonna
the
send you
comments.
this other girl, this girl that I've been just recently started following who has Tourette's. And then she has like these funny ass ticks that she does.
Okay.
And then
She
she just
records
records
them?
them. Yeah. And then people fight in the comments about whether the ticks are real or not.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like whether it's all right to laugh at it.
No. Yeah, they
She's
did that
faking.
before, but she's obviously putting it out there for that purpose.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's really funny.
I
the
kind of
ticks that
think
she
that's
has.
cool. She's like trying to just
Yeah, because she has some
normalize
funny ass
Tourette's.
ticks. She'll be like,
Yeah.
wind it up. Fuck you, scumbag. Like she does like stuff with her brother, and she'll be like, tell her brother, fuck your mother, fuck your father. It's like
I
I
think
think you guys
we're
have
all-
the same mother and father.
I think we're almost full circle here. That'd be like if you had like a lazy eye and you just put it on Instagram.
Yeah,
You're
some
like-
people do.
Like at lazy eye Instagram or whatever.
Some people, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the people that have some sort of barbaric disformity and they go hard on it.
Right.
And like, there's people that have like terrible faces and then they're doing makeup fucking tutorials and it's like, and they have like 63,000 followers. And I'm like, you're doing something right.
I am not on the internet enough. This is all, you know what? I watch skateboarding videos. Oh, that's like my calm zen on Instagram.
Oh,
I'm just
my
like,
God.
I just watch skateboarding videos.
Just straight ollies
Just,
for an hour.
yeah, 30 seconds a clip. It's just
Ollie
ollies,
compilation
ollies
videos.
and ramps and it's so nice. It's just skateboarding is
That's
such
nice.
a fun thing to watch.
My algorithm's broken. I got fucking fat asses, girls with Tourette's, and fucking people getting beheaded.
Oh Jesus! Is that really on Instagram? People being beheaded?
It's fucking
I
crazy.
purposely hacked my algorithm. Like I just like anything that's like a guy on a skateboard or BMX or whatever.
Yeah.
Just and so like it's because like for me, I got tired of stand-up comedians on my Instagram. It's like you log in, and it's like 20 comedians. You don't even know them. They're like yelling their jokes at you. You're like, enough. I want to see somebody fall on a BMX bike.
You don't want to open your fucking Instagram and be at an open mic.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I do this all the time. I don't. Yeah. This is my leisure getaway time. Please.
Oh my god! All right, we gotta get out of here. Thanks, bro, for coming
Vic,
through.
Thanks for having me, man. I've known Vic for so long. Good dude. Keep plugging away at your thing. If you listen to this, share it with your friends and all that good stuff.
Hell yeah, that's a Josh Wells endorsement for
Yeah.
you, baby. We're out of here. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Shout out 18 Pool Tables, Combat Fitness. Peace.
You're listening to my dad of the Vic.